So over the last 24 hours, as we were finishing the other show, and I'm just going to re-establish my connection with YouTube and all that kind of stuff here. Over the last 24 hours, of course, we finished up the show last night, and then all this Gaetz stuff hit the fan. And some of you may or may not have seen the entire Tucker interview. We're going to do that right now because there's a lot in there that people are skipping around on. And maybe it's just having Facebook pages open, and that's what's being weird. That might freeze stuff up. I'm just forgetting about that. I'm shutting every window I don't necessarily need for this. Oh man. Nope. Okay. Yeah, something had to do with I was shutting pages, and suddenly they were all. It got weird. So good. Okay. So something I had going was eating up a lot of space. Bet you it was the Facebook pages that I had open. That's what it was. It's the first time I've ever gone to anybody's Facebook pages and made this thing happen, So, voila. Shut those and suddenly everything's smooth again. That's weird. God forbid. Here we go.
Just a couple of hours ago, late this afternoon, the New York Times ran a story saying that Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz is under federal investigation for...
What?
Playing some role in sex trafficking.
Just some role. Yeah, he played Stella in a streetcar full of sex trafficked minors of desire.
And potentially having a relationship with a 17-year-old girl. There are very few details in major news outlets tonight about...
Are there very few details about... Guys, was the lack of details the important thing? Let's see. New York Times. Gaetz. Okay. So, this would be the lack of detail he was talking about. Matt Gaetz said to face Justice Department inquiry over sex with an underage girl. You guys have seen this headline a couple times, I have no doubt. An inquiry into the Florida congressman was opened in the final months of the Trump administration, under Bill Barr, of course, and all those deep staters. People briefed on it said, Representative Matt Gaetz, Republican of Florida, and a close ally to former President Donald J. Trump, as well as a dude who was busted for child sex trafficking himself, is being investigated by the Justice Department over whether he had a sexual relationship with a 17-year-old and paid for her travel with him, according to 3 people briefed on the matter. Investigators are examining whether Mr. Gaetz violated federal sex trafficking laws because apparently the state of Florida does not give a shit if you commit statutory rape, apparently. Apparently, if you're a congressman and you're having sex with a teenager who's under the age of 18, by the way, the age of consent in Florida is 18, I guess Ron DeSantis, the governor, and his Department of Justice, the Florida DOJ, the Florida AG, have no interest in pursuing charges against Matt Gaetz for doing things with that person in state, in theory? All right. It was not clear how Mr. Gaetz had met the girl, believed to be 17 at the time of encounters about 2 years ago, that investigators are scrutinizing, according to 2 of the people. The investigation was opened in the final months of the Trump administration under Attorney General William Barr. The 2 people have given Mr. Gaetz national profile. Senior Justice Department officials in Washington, including some appointed by Mr. Trump, were notified. You think? The 3 people said the examination of Gaetz 38 is part of a broader investigation into a political ally of his, this guy Joel Greenberg, who was indicted last summer on an array of charges, including, I'm sure you guys saw the Rachel Maddow stuff on it. He was having that's the part that's the main thing. Honest to God, if some dude has a sugar daddy relationship with a woman who's of age and he's old, that's between 2 adults, I could give a shit, honestly. Seriously. I've never, in case you're wondering, I've never engaged in one myself. I feel like because of Matt Gaetz, I have to, if I'm for something or supportive of something, I have to let you know whether or not I've actually done that. I have not. Have I been on the receiving end, though? That's a good question. But that's not sugar daddying. That's to sugar mama. Is that a kept man? Was all just a piece of crumpet, right? I don't know. Anyways, the creepy part is obviously this and his weird stuff about Greenberg has resigned. He was a tax collector in Seminole County. That's weird too. A tax collector in Seminole County, north of Orlando, and he was in the DMV offices getting, old IDs. It's very weird. Like, I don't know what the offices there were. No charges have been brought against Gaetz yet. He said in an interview that his lawyers have been in touch with the Justice Department. We'll get into that. Okay, so that's all we'll get into this to see if there's any details present. There are, let's see, no details. I only know that it has to do with women. Well, no. No, it doesn't have to do with women. It has to do with girls. Women are adult females, you see. And girls are not adults. And if it was with women, it wouldn't be a problem. Mr. Gaetz called the investigation part of an elaborate scheme involving false sex allegations. Allegations that he falsely engaged in sex, or that all the sex he has is false. I don't know. To extort him and his family for $25 million that began this month. He said he and his father, Don Gaetz, have been cooperating with the FBI and wearing a wire after they approached by people saying they would make the investigation go away. That's weird. Well, he talks about it in the interview. So, let's get to that, and then we'll come back to the what.
About this story, we have no background on it all, and not even any very informed questions.
No. I'm just totally freeballing it in this interview. I'm just going to pretend that, I know even the vaguest bullshit about this so that I can let Gaetz come on and literally clear his name. Like, this is a whitewash, no pun intended, that you're seeing here. That Tucker didn't cite. Understand this. This dude has been accused of trafficking a minor across state lines, a federal offense, and committing statutory rape. This is the story that came out in the New York Times. And Tucker Carlson is telling you that he needed zero prep and zero reassurance that any of it was true to have this guy on to just let him tell whatever bullshit story he wants to tell. And by the way, is Matt Gaetz trying to look more evil right now? Seriously, did he get his eyebrows done? Because it's like he got extra legs put on his eyebrows to make them even more just kind of Jack Torrance-y. You know what I mean?
Instead, we've invited Congressman Gaetz on the show to...
Yeah, instead of actually looking into it, reading it, participating in a conversation about the details, talking to my staff and having them look into it before we bring him on, we just said, screw it. Let's bring him on and protect him from child sex trafficking allegations that very well may be true. Congrats, Carlene. Carlene got her first Pfizer shot today. News 2020 deaths largest in history. Gee, thanks, Donald Trump. No kidding.
To respond to these stories and give us his view of them.
He seems super excited. This sounds like not that Tucker Carlson wouldn't have Gaetz on to kiss his ass, but this sounds like the uppers went, you're having him on, and because Hannity won't.
Congressman, thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for being here. I know it's a lot of time. You're spending a lot of time. Trafficking children is it's man's work.
Appreciate it. So this is obviously a serious allegation. Tell us what the truth is from your perspective.
Yeah. Tell us the truth. It's got to be the opposite of the allegation. That's why you're here.
Perspective.
It is a horrible allegation, and it is a lie.
It is a horrible allegation, and it is a lie. So what's the actual? Now, again, dude's a lawyer, so forgive me for legalese this a little bit, okay? What's he lead off with? It is a horrible allegation, and it is a lie. Well, the allegation from the New York Times is not that Matt Gaetz trafficked this girl or anything. The allegation is that Matt Gaetz is said to face Justice Department inquiry over sex with an underage girl. So if he's saying it's a lie and that it's a horrible allegation, the allegation is that there's an investigation into him for this thing. Right? The New York Times isn't saying he did it. New York Times is saying we found out there's an investigation into him, and an investigation that started during the Trump presidency and that goes back 2 years. Now, is it a lie that there's an investigation? Is that what he's saying? A little bit of legalese. Let's see, shall we?
The New York Times is running a story that I have traveled with a 17-year-old woman, and that is verifiably false. People can...
Okay, so there's the second one. The New York Times is running a story that I have, quote, traveled with a 17-year-old girl. No, they don't allege that he was doing it. They just say he's being investigated by the Justice Department over whether he had a sexual relationship with a 17-year-old and paid for her travel with him. Now, all he has denied right now is the traveling part. Yeah, and he keeps saying 17-year-old woman. Girl. Child. He had sexual relations with a 17-year-old. This part he didn't deny. What he's denying right now is that there might be a federal case that he didn't travel with her, or that she turned 18 before she got on the plane. But they were knocking boots or fiddling around when she was 17 is a very strong possibility.
People can look at my travel records and see that that is not the case.
Okay, post them. I'm sorry, in the last 24 hours, did he post his travel records on his Facebook page or any of that stuff?
What is happening is an extortion of me and my family.
Dun, dun, dun. What's happening is an extortion of him and his family. Not by the New York Times, which, by the way, well, he'll get into this, I think, but the extortion is that somebody is going to make the investigation go away.
Involving a former Department of Justice official. On March 16th, my father got a text message demanding a meeting wherein a person demanded $25 million in exchange for making horrible sex trafficking allegations against me go away.
Okay. All right. There you have it. The extortion is not that we have evidence that you were doing this and we're going to go to the cops if you don't pay us, which is the standard form of this kind of blackmail. The idea is that the DOJ is gathering information and that this person somehow can make these charges go away. That's different. Oh, yeah, his dad's rich, of course. You don't think this kid's like a bootstrapper or some shit, do you?
Our family was so troubled by that, we went to the local FBI. And the FBI and the Department of Justice were so concerned about this attempted extortion of a member.
By the way, remember this whole, we were so concerned we went to the FBI story the next time somebody brings up Eric Swalwell. Because Eric Swalwell really did go to the FBI.
Of Congress, that they asked my dad to wear a wire, which he did with the former Department
An underwire bra, that's different.
of Justice official. Tonight, I am demanding that the Department of Justice and the FBI release the audio recordings that were made under their supervision and at their direction, which will prove my innocence and that will...
No, it won't. It'll prove that someone was offering to make an investigation go away and apparently thought that it was a legit investigation that would get you in trouble and that there was there. Otherwise, who the fuck asked for $25 million to make an investigation that has no grounds go away?
It will show that these allegations aren't true. They're merely intended to try to bleed my family out of money. And this former Department of Justice official...
Dad, I swear, it's not true. Just give him some of the money to start with.
Tomorrow was supposed to be contacted by...
Tucker, somebody said in the chat room, Tucker looks worried. Tucker always looks like that. He always looks like he was just hit with a shovel that smells like something familiar, and he can't quite place it.
My father, so that specific instructions could be given regarding the wiring of $4.5 million.
Was that the first installment? So this dude, whoever it was, and he'll name him later, I think, this guy was so confident that this investigation was legit, would be ongoing, and would take some time to get rid of, that he was comfortable taking $25 million in installments
as a down payment on this bribe.
So it wasn't a bribe. So this lawyer who's hooked up to the DOJ said, if you retain me, I can make this go away. And the story just came out, and the retainer for this sex trafficking case, which is going to cost $25 million to fight in court, is actually $5 million. Is that what you're saying? You're going to wire money to a lawyer? Because this dude's not in the DOJ, apparently.
I don't think it's a coincidence that tonight, somehow, the New York Times is leaking this information.
They're leaking the information? They're doing a story on... Okay. So, if they're leaking it, who... I think technically it hurts the blackmailer.
Smearing me and ruining the investigation that would likely result in...
Oh yeah, you wouldn't want to ruin the investigation. Like, imagine if it got out that your dad was wearing a wire. Oh shit!
One of the former colleagues of the current DOJ being brought...
One of the former colleagues of the current DOJ. Current head of the DOJ? No. Current member of the people in the DOJ? I mean, this is gibberish.
To justice for trying to extort me and my family.
Oh, it's fine. We need justice for Matt, guys. For real. Matt is trying so hard. And it's because he cares about the border and making America Gaetz again. That they are trying to take money from him and his rich dad. It's terrible. It's communist.
So a couple of obvious questions that...
I have a few. Can I budge in? No? Okay.
Come to mind. And again, just to restate, this just happened. Don't have any other information beyond what...
Yeah, I don't... I mean, I'm not even here really to ask questions, except that I have to kind of to make this look like it's not just a glaringly obvious act of propaganda for you. And asking questions I already know the answer to is sort of my thing.
What we've already said and you have said. First of all, who is this Department of Justice former employee who's trying to extort the money from you?
Yeah, who is it? I want to look him up.
His name is David McGee.
David McGee? Holy shit. I wonder if we're related. My middle name is McGee. All right, let's see. David McGee. Matt Gaetz. Yeah, okay. Ex-DOJ official accused of extorting Rep. Matt denies allegations. All right, well, that didn't quite work out. Here we go. This is good. Hold on. Oh, back here. All right. Let's see. Rep. Gaetz, 7-year-old girls. New York Times report Tuesday evening. Federal investigator examining alleged payment for the girls' travel. Blah blah blah. Justice Department opened the probe into the twilight of President Trump. In a three-tweet thread, Gaetz put a different spin on the floor. Over the past several weeks, my family and I have been victims of an organized criminal extortion involving a former DOJ seeking $25 million while threatening to smear my name. We've been cooperating with federal authorities. He's been wearing a wire. His wild account continued the planted leak to the FBI tonight was intended to thwart the investigation. No part of the allegations against me are true. And the people pushing these lies are targets of the ongoing extortion investigation. I demand the DOJ immediately release the tapes. Thank you, Melissa. Bless you. I mean, I deserve super chats just for having to look at Gaetz's Facebook page, for Christ's sake. But I appreciate that so much. Thank you. Gaetz told Axios after the Time report, however, did acknowledge that he had paid for their expenses. I have definitely, in my single days, provided for women I've dated, paid for flights, hotel room. I've been, generous as a partner. I think someone is trying to make that look criminal when it is not. Well, it wouldn't be until one of them turns out to be 17 or turns out to be 18 and you've been having people know her as your girlfriend or something and you've been and you tell people on the plane, today's her birthday. You know what I mean? Haven't you guys been fucking for like a month and a half now? Sorta. Right. Let's see. Somebody, during an interview, he called it a horrible allegation and a lie. He said false, right? Okay. Before the Fox interview tonight, Gaetz used his Twitter to call on the Justice Department immediately release the tapes and asked today, Daily Beast, Andrew J. Clark, spoken for units, we don't confirm or deny the existence of an ongoing occasion. Yeah, blah, blah. Where is he? Greenberg, that's the dude, resigned in the aftermath. Mark Horowitz represents Greenberg in December. Fritz Schiller, Gaetz proposed to his girlfriend immediately. Yeah, in December, like, holy shit, I'm about to be indicted on sex trafficking. I better get a wife. And then the Nestor Galaban thing, and then 26. Where is this dude? Where's this guy? Well, the dude says it didn't do it. Okay, hold on. This is the guy. Completely false. Gets his thing. All right, here we go. Former DOJ official denied an accusation by Matt Gaetz saying the claims are false and merely a way to distract the investigation into whether he... in an interview with Fox News... Okay, he said that. McGee told the Daily Beast that the reports of the extortion were completely... No thanks. Were completely and totally false. There's a lot of that. Oh, why are you giving me that argument? Okay. This is a blatant attempt to distract from the fact that Matt Gaetz is apparently about to be indicted for sex trafficking underage girls. Whoa! McGee, and he spells it differently than my family does. Although, many people know that McGee, my last name, actually comes from McGee, which is M-C-G-O-U-G-H, which is closer to this spelling anyway, so clearly, what you can do. During the Fox interview, Gaetz denied reports that he ever traveled with a 17-year-old girl. Right, okay. Blah, blah, blah. But, I mean, that's way bigger. Holy shit. Right? This is a blatant attempt to distract from the fact that Matt Gaetz is apparently about to be indicted for sex trafficking underage girls. Plural. Yikes. All right. Why does it keep going to that article and maybe I just skip past the whole thing where he's like, while it kind of continued. Yeah, I don't see the... Yeah, here it goes. Fox told it... Okay, the DOJ employee going after him was David McGee, and now a lawyer at Beggs and Lane. In an interview with the Daily Beast late Tuesday night, he said any reports of extortion are completely, totally false. A blatant attempt to distract from the fact that Matt Gaetz is about to then. Before the Fox interview Tuesday night... Okay, so that's all it was. He asked to release the tapes. Release the Kraken!
He was a top official in the leadership in the Northern District of Florida as a prosecutor. He currently works at the Beggs and Lane law firm.
If you want his address, he's basically doxing this dude. Thank you, Aggie.
As a matter of fact, one of the recordings that was made at the FBI and Department of Justice request occurred at that law firm. And the money that was supposed to be paid today that would have shown even more evidence of David McGee's work in this extortion scheme, that was foiled by the New York Times story, and I believe...
Oh, so you're proving a negative by... Jesus, this is so gross.
I believe that's why this horrible information and these terrible allegations have been used this evening.
Look, I look just as confused as Tucker. I think that's the one... We've all united. We've all got Tucker face when we listen to Matt Gaetz. It literally makes your face go into WTF mode.
So you're, and I'll get to the investigation in a sec, but...
But
you're saying that David McGee was...
who works at Biggs and Lane in Northern Florida, was part of the Federal District Attorney General's office in... he's saying that guy, basically posting his address so somebody goes and shoots him in the name of MAGA, I guess.
Was motivated by greed. He was trying to extort money from your family. That's his motivation, you're saying.
And apparently to do it, he thought the best way to do it, because he didn't have a job, was, let's see, Don Gaetz net worth. Gaetz and his 7-person representatives, Matt Gaetz, disclosure form. Don Gaetz, American politician, Was it with Florida? Oh, so Don Gaetz, where there's an American politician. Oh, I see. So this is Don. This is Matt's personal life, known as Vicky Gaetz, of 2 children. Yeah, this is Matt Gaetz's dad. He's worth $30 million. This is Don Gaetz. Don Gaetz, is allegedly worth $90 million. He's from North Dakota. He was the mayor of Rugby in a state legislature, so they've been government employees. It's a family of government employees. He's an American politician. His son's an American politician. But bootstrapping. Former member of the Florida State Senate, probably best known for being the father of politician Matt Gaetz. Oh boy, is he. Don Gaetz graduated from Concordia, blah, blah, business career, 82, primary figure in passing the Federal Hospice Care Reimbursement Act. Good for him. This act made hospice care a benefit covered by Medicare. What kind of commie bullshit is that? Let's see. 1 year later, Don and a group of partners converted what had been a nonprofit hospice organization called Vitas into a for-profit healthcare company called Hospice Incorporated. Schlemazel, Hospice Incorporated. We're gonna do it. They eventually changed the name to Vitas Healthcare. Today, Vitas is the largest end-of-life healthcare provider in the U.S., operating in roughly 50 hospitals in 14 states plus the District of Columbia. Vitas employs roughly 12,000 healthcare professionals, doctors, nurses, social workers, and home health aides. Has anybody seen the movie I Care a Lot? I don't know why that movie just came to mind. In 2004, Vitas was acquired by Roto-Rooter's parent company, ChemEd, for $400 million. Today, ChemEd is a publicly traded company with $7.5 billion on market cap, $2 billion. Its primary divisions are Roto-Rooter and Vitas Healthcare, according to financial disclosures. While he was state senator, the sale of Roto-Rooter left Dan Gaetz with a net worth of $25 million. He's made 5 since, I suppose. Don and Victoria's they famously own and reside in that house that was used in The Truman Show. The marital home of Jim Carrey as Truman Burbank and Laura Linney as Meryl Burbank. And Don and Vicky bought the Santa Rosa Beach, Florida home in 1991. In the movie, the home's address is 36, which Don and Vicky kept fixed above the front door and kept a sign outside the gate that says the Truman House. Jesus Christ. Matt Gaetz grew up in the Truman House. Oh, thank you, that other guy. Slanche. Love you. Thanks. It's starting to come into focus why he's a lunatic.
You're saying?
I know that there was a demand for money in exchange for a commitment that he could make this investigation go away along with his co-conspirators.
Yeah, he kind of roto-rooted out of the... All right.
They even claim to have specific connections inside the Biden White House. Now, I don't know if that's true. They were...
Really? Hold on. Someone was shopping a Biden pardon for you?
Promising that Joe Biden would pardon me. Obviously...
Yeah, no. Obviously, that is literally the last pardon you could expect. Why? All right.
I don't need a pardon.
I got one from Trump before he left office. I got it in my hip pocket just in case. I'm not bringing it out unless they actually file charges. I'm just saying.
A pardon. I have not done anything improper or wrong. But what I am troubled by is the real motivation for all of this.
Yeah, just money. You know what I mean?
Just tonight, Ted Lieu, a Democrat, is calling on me to be removed from the House Judiciary Committee.
Why would he do that? I mean, just let's put the whole Matt Gaetz is a child sex trafficker thing in a box over here for a moment, which is appropriate. This box right here. Let's put that there, and let's just go with asshole just went on television during an FBI investigation on extortion regarding child sex trafficking and said on the news that members of people involved in that investigation were wearing a wire and that the FBI was using a wire in the investigation that was current and ongoing. See how that might be a problem if you're on the Judiciary Committee or you're on any committee where you can't be trusted with details that might involve national security or important issues dealing with the judiciary. Maybe they just don't want you to dox all the Supreme Court judges.
And I believe we are in an era of our politics now, Tucker, where people are smeared to try to take them out of the conversation. I'm not the only person on screen right now who's been falsely accused of a terrible sex act.
Excuse me. Now that's true. I'm not being on screen. Holy shit. This, by the way, Tucker, this is what you get. This is what you want. This is what you get. This is what you want. This is what you get.
You were accused of something that you did not do, and so you know what this feels like. You know the pain.
Hang out 1 second. Those of you, let's see. Hold on. Hey boy. Deep dive time again. Let's see. Tucker Carlson accused of sexual whatever. Tucker Carlson tells management denies a graphic. Fox News and Cardi named in Howard accused of sexual harassment by Franklin and said Tucker Carlson in the weirdest interview tries to rope charges in a team thing. It's a legal battle heats up over sexual harassment. Fox News judge Sean Hannity, Tucker Carlson sexually harassed. Oh, well, by the way, ew. I mean, they're all creeps, but okay. Let's hear what Matt Gaetz. Let's let Matt Gaetz finish his thought. Let's hear what Tucker says. And then
pain it can bring to your family, and you know how it just puts people on defense when you're accused of something so salacious and awful, but it did not happen. It is not true. And the fact that it is the basis of this attempt to extort my family tells a lot. And if the FBI and Department of Justice will release the tapes that they are in possession of, the American people will see what is really going on.
Well, technically what they'll see is that someone went, shit, dude, you're under investigation by the DOJ. If you pay me a shit ton of money, I can get rid of it. I can make it go away. But if you don't, they've got a lot of evidence and stuff. Maybe I can have a friend of mine shred shit for you, I guess.
You just referred to a mentally ill viewer who accused me of a sex crime.
Which, by the way, could pertain, in all deference to people with genuine mental illness, to any of Tucker Carlson's viewers.
20 years ago.
20 years ago? 20 years ago? Was he referring to something that happened 20 years ago, Tucker? Because maybe that's what's screwing you up. In 2020, you and Sean Hannity sexually harassed a guest, according to them when they came there. And that's also a lawsuit that alleges that Ed Henry raped the person. And he got fired for that. Fox News Channel stars Sean Hannity, Tucker Carlson, and Howard Kurtz were accused of sexual harassment by a frequent on-air guest in a lawsuit filed Monday. The network called frivolous and untrue. In the same case, a former Fox employee said she was harassed and raped by news anchor Ed Henry, who was fired July 1st, shortly after the network became aware of the accusations. I mean, the other ones are false, obviously, because those guys make money. But Ed Henry's a low-hanging fruit. We'll toss him to the curb. Henry's lawyer, Catherine Foti, said Monday that her client's accuser, Jennifer Eckhart, initiated and encouraged a sexual relationship. Hannity and Carlson represented two-thirds of Fox's lucrative primetime lineup, while Kurtz hosts the weekend media buzz show. Ouch. Not lucrative, I guess. None of them have been mentioned before in any misconduct allegations at Fox until the charges were made by Kathy Aria. Lawsuit filed and describes Aria's discomfort with a March 2018 on the set of Hannity's show, where the host allegedly put $100 on a desk and challenged the men on his staff to take her out on a date. She said she was a guest on Carlson's show in December 2018, and after it was over, he told he was staying in a hotel room in New York that night without his wife and children. In 2019, she said Kurtz invited her to his hotel room to discuss her hope of getting a full-time job at Fox. He invited her to dinner with him and her friend. He declined, she said. In case of Carlson and Kurtz, Era believed the men were making sexual advances, the lawsuit said. Said she was also propositioned by Gianno Caldwell, a Fox contributor. Based on the outside law firm's investigation, Fox said it found all of her claims false, patently frivolous, and utterly devoid of any merit. Of course, that's what they're going to say, because that's their thing. She also got several lewd messages from Henry, but it was the accusations made by Eckhart, a former employee, that led to the anchor's dismissal. Her allegations weren't made public when Henry was fired. Eckhart, who was 24 at the time, said the 49-year-old Henry restrained her with metal handcuffs, took nude pictures of her, raped her in a hotel room. Jesus. Said he had asked Eckhart to be his slave and punished her when she did not comply with his demands. Fody said that Henry had received graphic photos and suggested message from Eckhart. Yeah, what'd he do? Take pictures with her phone, send them to his phone while she was handcuffed? The Me Too movement has helped bring out the number. The Eckhart's lawyer, William, accused Fody of trying to slut-shame Eckhart and suggesting that she was asking to be... oh, God. Fucking awful. But anyways, they're, beyond the crazy person 20 years ago that Tucker wants you to believe that is being brought up, there is an absolute subculture at Fox News of, skeeviness by both Hannity and Tucker Carlson that, led to the end of Hannity's marriage and Tucker Carlson apparently, ugh. So, but please, let's talk about it being 20 years ago. Yeah. What happened to Gaetz's face? I don't know. I think evil just does that to you.
And of course, it was not true. I'd never met the person.
Yeah, I don't bring up that one. I'm going to bring up the one when there's a bunch of allegations against me. I'm just going to bring up shit that has nothing to do with what you're talking about, but that I well covered.
But I do agree with you that being accused falsely is one of the worst things that can happen.
Yeah, it's not. It's bad. Being falsely accused is a terrible thing, but it's not one of the worst things that can happen to you. Not even close. Actually being sexually assaulted would be way up higher on the list. Actually thinking you're in danger even of being sexually assaulted legitimately in a circumstance, that would be higher. Being afraid, being in a space afraid with other people, knowing that the man that had sexually assaulted you was at the same desk at you and one of the other guys at that desk was offering guys money to take you out. That might be higher up.
And you do see it a lot. Let's go back to...
Do you see it a lot? Do you really see it a lot? I mean, you see it a little, and it's something you have to watch out for, and it's a real consideration if you're famous or rich or whatever. That on both sides of that, absolutely it's an angle. But do you see it a lot? A lot? No. What you see a lot of is actual sexual assault, actual sexual harassment, and the level that it's underreported. That's what you see a lot of. Asshole.
Back to the investigation.
Yeah, let's go back to enough about me. Let's talk about you.
You say that it was or is underway. There was an investigation. What is the basis of that investigation?
Yeah, why would the DOJ look into you in a way that somebody else could extort you for it? That's weird.
What is the allegation? That's really not very clear from these news stories.
From the news story, if you give a shit about reading them before you have the guest on to come on and use your show as a propaganda effort to rehab their image and protect them from actual sexual assault and sex trafficking allegations, it says that the allegations were that he was having intercourse with a minor child and that he was under investigation for the possibility that he flew her out of state, which is a federal crime. That and according to the dude that is allegedly extorting him or his dad or both or the Roto-Rooter company, according to that dude, it's girls plural. I just glanced at the article in front of everybody who's watching my show, and I knew what it meant. But yeah, you're right, it's fuzzy.
Yeah, again, I only know what I've read in the New York Times.
Okay, that's not true. That's not, fucking hell. That's not even close to true. What are you talking about? You only know about what you read in the New York Times. You've offered information. Some of what showed up in the New York Times is there because they called you for comment and you gave them more information.
I can say that actually you and I went to dinner about 2 years ago. Your wife was there, and I brought a friend.
Dude, what are you? We've lost Congressman Gaetz's feed.
Of mine, you'll remember her, and she was actually.
Why would he? Who is she?
Threatened by the FBI, told that if she wouldn't cop to the fact that somehow I was involved in some pay-for-play scheme, that she could face trouble. And so
Which is, by the way, what? First of all, Tucker went to dinner with a woman who's allegedly aware of and will not act as a witness of criminal pay-for-play activity, bribery schemes, effectively, that have nothing to do with this. And this dickhead is like, you saw her, she was really nice. We had dinner. Remember that chick that I brought?
I do believe that there are people.
She had wine, remember? And I was like, you shouldn't have wine. And she's like, why? And he's like, is it fattening? And you said, as your wife said, I always worry about wine. He's like, no, it's because she's a minor.
People at the Department of Justice who are trying to smear me, providing for.
No, by the way, no one at the Department of Justice gives a rat fuck about Matt Gaetz on a personal level enough to go out on a limb to just smear him with shit. Do you realize how easily you could lose your job and everything that goes with it if you mishandle this kind of thing? If you created a fakakta sex trafficking case against a sitting congressman and it wasn't based on anything, do you know how much shit you would be in? Who the hell is going to walk that plank for this dumbass? Honest to God. Think about that for a second. Let's say you wanted to bring down somebody and you were willing to falsify evidence, create an investigation based on nothing. I mean, you literally had to concoct all this shit out of nowhere, right? You had to Rudy Giuliani your way into a fake hard drive from Europe. All that stuff. But you're in the DOJ and all of it just to smear him, and then somebody else in your office finds out about this investigation and all the details in it, and apparently thinks it's sound enough to extort the dude's dad for $25 million when you know he has a total net worth of 30, but you're only asking for 5. I'm sorry, but like the more I hear, the second listening to some of this stuff, there's so many friggin' red flags in this. For flights and hotel rooms for people that you're dating who are of legal age is not a crime. Yeah, look, we've been dating for like 8 months. Today's her 18th birthday. This hotel room is completely legal.
And I'm just troubled that the lack of any sort of legitimate investigation into me would then.
Oh, I agree. I think there should be a legitimate investigation into Matt Gaetz. That I will say that there hasn't been a deeper and more probing.
Permute would then convert into this extortion attempt.
I don't remember the woman you're speaking of.
I don't. That was a crazy viewer. I had dinner with a crazy viewer like 20 years ago, and that turned out not to even be a meal because I didn't eat anything. Hold on.
Or the context at all, honestly. But
yeah, I don't, Matt. Honestly, all of our dinners just blend together.
I would like to know who. So they're saying there is a 17-year-old girl who you had a relationship with. Is that true? And who are they? Who is this girl?
Yeah, who is she? What's her name? Do you have her number? Do you got any? Did she send you any pictures? Can you share them with me? Eek! What is wrong with you? Why? And by the way, if this is a 17-year-old girl that was sex trafficked, why the fuck is Tucker Carlson asking for her name on national television? Are you dumb? She was a child at the time, in the allegations. She was a child at the time that she was sex trafficked. She was, groomed by this cretin, and you want him to... Templeton, thank you so much. Smash the like. Give us... Yeah, everybody, don't forget, in the name of Templeton's rat, Lupin the Laochu, please, Templeton de Laochu, please, thank you so much. Tucker wants her name and number. Exactly. Is this not... I mean, does it even occur? I mean, I know he's like, yeah, and technically she's a woman now, because she was 17 2 years ago when they were in, like, unless we find out that it's actual bullshit and that she was 15 and now she's 17 and the people talking about the case are hearing stuff secondhand and giving it to the press and therefore they're getting part of it. But
what are they talking about? The New York Times.
The person doesn't exist. I have not had a relationship.
Oh, so she's buried someplace. That's scary. That's some scary shit right there. Honestly, I'm kidding. I have no evidence that he's murdered someone
With a 17-year-old. That is totally false.
Well, yeah, because she's already turned, because she was 19 when you broke it off, or 18. I didn't have a relationship with a 17-year-old. I was having sex with a 17-year-old. It wasn't a relationship until she turned 18. Get it, Your Honor? Why am I alone in this courtroom? Oh, it's a cell.
The allegation, as I read it in the New York Times, is that I've traveled with some 17-year-old in some relationship. That is false, and records will bear that out to be false.
All it'll do is prove, I suppose, that she was 18 when you traveled with her.
How long has this investigation been going on? Do you know?
I don't know.
When were you first informed of it?
Yeah, when?
Again,
Hold on one second. I kind of need to do something. Hold on. This is just so wrong on so many fronts. But in the case of, there we go. There we go.
I like wood.
All right, so there we go.
I really saw this as a deeply troubling challenge for my family on March 16th when people were,
When you had to tell your dad that it was going to cost him, whatever, $15 or $25 million to buy you out of a sex trafficking case. That was it?
Deeper and longer.
I see.
Talking about a minor and that there were pictures of me with child prostitutes.
Why does this asshole keep... There is nothing, even in my double glancing over and fully reading the New York Times article in the last little bit, where it says anything about pictures of him with child prostitutes. And by the way, this could be a ploy. As creepy as this is, as awful as it is, and as gross, I wouldn't put this past him, is that you present something that's so horribly awful that by comparison, what he actually did seems, pardon the pun, minor in comparison. And so what he does is, there was a suggestion that I'm murdering a kid and that like you create this kind of craziness that, that tars the story, which doesn't mention that, by the way, with a deeper and more grotesque detail that turns out not only not to be true, but nobody even brought it up. So it's not untrue, but it gives the illusion that it's untrue. You see the game that he's playing right here?
That's obviously false. There will be no such pictures
because I just made them up in my head to tar the press as if
no such thing happened.
Right. See what I'm saying? Oh, Beth, thank you so much. Thank you, Carl. Carl. Do you see what I'm talking about there? You create this illusion that someone is saying there is evidence that you could say absolutely does not exist. And when it doesn't exist, you go, see, I told you it didn't exist. And the other person's going, we never said there was that stuff. You said that, but it's too late.
But really on March 16th was when this got going from the extortion standpoint.
From the extortion standpoint. So you don't count the time when you started dating the 17-year-old, because that's a few years ago.
So
yes, it's a form of gish gallop, only it's a singular. It's, yeah, I would imagine it's a bit of a, like, it's the straw Ubermensch, or, you know, it's a straw man argument because it doesn't exist. It's not, you know, you're saying that I've said something I have never even alleged, and because you've refuted something I never said, that makes me a liar by derivation. That's kind of where he's going through. Like, that's what he's going for, I think.
So what?
Or fucking hell, or there's pictures of him and he knows of it and he's trying to run interference for it. Thanks, Rocky Mountain Mike. Thank you, Jay.
What happens next? I mean,
yeah, what happens next? Jail.
You can say there is this investigation, I guess a criminal investigation. I'm not quite sure where the sex trafficking part comes in. I like wood. I don't really understand this story very well.
Well, yeah, they didn't stop you from having him on, you know.
I like wood. But where does it go from here? I mean, you've made an allegation against someone by name on the air and accused him of trying to extort millions of dollars from your family. What happens tomorrow?
I'm going to go with, if Dominion is an example, a $1.8 trillion lawsuit from Biggs and Lane or Doc McGee for this, you letting this dickhead come on and accuse him of a crime on which he didn't do, like, and you didn't vet it before you had him on, and you let him say whatever he wanted to.
Well, what was supposed to happen was the transfer of this money that would have implicated the former colleague of these current DOJ officials. But
since I made that shit up in my head and it's all fake, and that guy never actually asked for that, and the money never was sent, I can say, well, it was the New York Times that screwed up the whole sending of the money thing, and the FBI, it's an ongoing investigation, so they can't talk about it. So I can pretend that absence of evidence is evidence of absence, and therefore get away with it.
But that's obviously not going to happen tomorrow.
Because it was never going to happen today.
Because the New York Times story was leaked in order to quell that investigative effort. So here's what needs to happen next.
All right, again, it was leaked in order to stop the extortion from working, because I guess technically speaking, if you're not guilty of this shit and the story comes out in the news, why didn't you go to the press? Why'd you go to the FBI and go, oh my God, they're asking us to pay $1 million, they're trying to extort us for this kind? Why wouldn't you go to the press and go, there's a dude who's a deep stater, who's a holdover from, you know, the Obama administration or some shit. I don't know if he was, but let's just, you know, puff up the story the way he would. And then, you know, this guy is trying to create horrifying attacks on people like me, and he's saying this, and that a girl that I dated that was of age was underage, and he's trying to, you know, get money out of my dad. Why wouldn't you have done a full court press knowing this shit? I mean, they called him about the article. He had a heads up. Mr. Gaetz said in an interview that his lawyers had been in touch with the Justice Department. Ugh. And you know that this dude, Greenberg, who he's friends with, who he brought to the White House, has been busted for child sex trafficking, and they know they were looking into the dude.
The FBI and the Department of Justice must release the tapes that are in their possession that were done at their direction. Those tapes will show that I am innocent and that the whole concept of sex charges against me was really just a way to try to bleed my family out of money.
How would it work, though? How would they bleed money out of? I'm getting Tucker face. How do you bleed money out of somebody with a false charge when you're not even in the DOJ anymore? And the false charge isn't what the guy was trying to bleed money out of. The guy was apparently, according to Gaetz, saying he could get rid of the charges. Not that he was going to start the charges, like, or I'm going to turn over this evidence. Does anybody, you know what I'm saying? Does anybody get what the fuck? Thank you, Cynthia. Right? Templeton? Am I wrong in this? Yes, Tucker face is horrifying.
And probably smear my name because I am...
Well, I mean, smear your name. Does it really have an outstanding record?
A well-known, outspoken conservative, and I guess that's out of style.
You're a what?
Probably smear my name because I am a well-known, outspoken conservative, and I guess that's out of style in a lot of parts of the country right
Yeah, it was a style choice on behalf of the dude.
now.
Matt Gaetz, I appreciate your coming on tonight.
Thanks for giving me the chance to tell the truth, Tucker. I appreciate it.
I mean, there's so much to...
I like wood. More interesting and complicated story than I knew from reading about it. Thank you very much. Deeper and longer. Mm-hmm. I like wood. Matt Gaetz interview, that was one of the weirdest interviews I've ever conducted. That story just appeared in the news a couple of hours ago.
I didn't even read it before I had him on. I just got a call from the Fox News folks that we got to let Matt Gaetz come onto my show and run interference on this story against the New York Times, and I'm not even allowed to dive into what he's going to talk to me about, and here I am broadsided, and now I'm a friggin' witness in this case, because apparently I had dinner with an underage girl that he's calling an underage woman that he may have photos of him circulating around the DOJ having sex with. Barf!
And on the certainty that there's always more than you read in the newspaper, we immediately...
Mm-hmm.
I like wood.
Yeah, there's all kinds of things. When you look
deeper and longer
into a story... Thank you, Diana.
Immediately called Matt Gaetz. I like wood.
You immediately... Wait a minute. We immediately... Hold on. This shit again. Hold on.
Always more than you read in the newspaper. We immediately called Matt Gaetz and asked him to come on and tell us more.
We immediately called Matt Gaetz and asked him to come on and tell us more. You don't say. Was he wearing a t-shirt? Did he have a bumper sticker on his car that said, "Ask me about my sex trafficking allegations," and had an Avon link or a QR code? What the hell?
Which, as you saw, he did.
Uh-huh. Yeah, he told us more about you than, let's see, I didn't know necessarily that you were named in this story. I mean, did anybody else remember that? Because I remember, the stuff about the lunatic he was talking about, but I don't remember him playing a part in allegedly basically hitting on a recurring guest that she was a guest on Carlson's show in December 2018, and after it was over, he told her he was staying in a hotel room in New York that night without his wife and children. I just want that as part of I'm staying in a hotel. I don't even know what that is. And I don't, I don't know if you'd want to come back to the hotel with me to do whatever people do. What do they do in a hotel room? Surely they wouldn't engage in extramarital intercourse. But you hopefully, you can look more into the room itself and check that out for yourself. Your wife and kids aren't going to be there. No, not this time. No. I just want that the without his wife and children was an answer to her question and not a volunteer piece of information.